Hi there. Welcome to a Bonzoleum video. Some of these videos I'm just going to date because there's not necessarily something specific to announce or talk about, although there are some announcements here. Today is May 17th, 2018. This is, finally, at long last, the 16 by 16 amber floor time. And you'll see here that I'm assembling it. What happened was I had a small problem with something. I had to fix something on it, but I finally got it. So check this out. I'm in the process. I have it sort of assembled. I got the leg brackets on, tightened up. Remember, with Vistula, you got to be careful. Not too tight. With the assistance of the great Wally Dellenbach, I got an authentic pointy blue olive badge from probably 1976-ish. So this is it. Isn't it fabulous? So let me shoot the shite with you while I tighten some of the things. Remember, not too tight. So I hope everything is good. The Chicago Drum Show, Vintage and Custom Drum Show, is coming up. It's Saturday, which is May 19th. So today being the 17th, it's Thursday today. And the Vintage and Custom Drum Show is the 19th. And I love going. But there's it's kind of a bummer, though, because I have this, I have the KASHMIR gig. I'm playing the KASHMIR gig Saturday night at 210 Live in Highwood, Illinois, which is at, like, Green Bay Road and Half Day Road. Green Bay Road and Half Day Road. Hang on a second here. So you can't tighten these babies too much. It's kind of just when they sort of stop. Like on a wood drum, just when they stop, you can kind of go like Torcorama. Here you can't, or you shouldn't. So, hope everything else is good with everybody. I'm preparing for the KASHMIR show. Remember, I did 4 of them last year, which was nice. I'm very proud of myself for doing the first one I did in July, because that was going to be tough. I hadn't played a KASHMIR show, a full Led Zeppelin tribute band show, at that point for about 8 years. 7 or 8 years. And so it was tough, but I made it through the show, which was kind of hairy, but I did it. And so I got one coming up. It'll be good. And I'm not sure if it's a 3-hour one or a 2-hour one. And the 2-hour one usually goes about 225. And the 2-hour one, though, actually, I know it's going to be a 3-hour one. The 2-hour one, sometimes when you're putting lugs on, and you start getting some bite, swap one of these babies out, because you don't want to strip what you're doing. Ta-da! I have a little stash of these. So, but the 2-hour one is actually harder, because it turns into 2 hours and 25 minutes, and it's literally non-stop. Like, we'll go, generally speaking, I'm paraphrasing a little, and that you go rock and roll into Celebration Day. So the rock and roll and the Celebration Day are as if it is, Song Remains the Same, like the movie, the soundtrack. And then we go into the Lemon Song. And then after the Lemon Song, in the past, we then would go into how many more times? Yeah, how many more times? Which is again, like I've said before, it's sort of like Dazed Confused's sort of sister, right? Dazed Confused sister. And then, after that, we do the Wanton Song, sometimes known as the Wonton Song. I would like some, what is the green mustard called? The green, you know what I mean? The, wasabi. I like some wasabi with my wonton song. So then we go through that. Now, I'll tell you, right there, it's hard. Because, going through rock and roll is, with me, for whatever reason, and I used to be able to, for some reason, when I do my 8th notes now on the hi-hat, and in rock and roll, I don't know if it's a mental thing or what, I burn up so much energy. So I've been trying to bring my technique closer and tighter. But again, part of the thing is because rock and roll is the first song. That's a bummer for me. But there's really no ultimate way to do it differently. You got to do it that way. Granted, like when Led Zeppelin first started out, I forget what song they probably did first at their shows. They probably did "You Shook Me," or maybe I know for a while they used to do What is it? We're Gonna Groove. But then after that, what they did after Zeppelin 4, oh, then after Zeppelin 3, they started off with Immigrant Song. And then after that, they did Rock and Roll as an intro. Then after that, I think they did Rock and Roll also in 75, but 77, what they started to open up with, I think was The Song Remains the Same, because that's the Listen to This Eddie, where Bonham's killing it. Yeah, so it's really neat. So I think I'm going to I told Frank that I didn't want to open with Rock and Roll. I got it. You know what I mean? So I've been working on it. I'm going to eat 2 or 3 bananas, literally. I ate like 2 or 3 bananas right before the show. And I know they used to say, was there a thing where, like Robert Plant said one time, we held a banana out to John Bonham at a show, like Bonzo. Because remember, Bonzo was like a monkey from like a Ronald Reagan movie. Whether or not he was named specifically after that monkey. But I'll tell you, the potassium, hopefully I have, yes, I do have all these. Oh, no, I don't have this bottle. Shit, this one's funky too. Potassium. So what I do before a show, I eat 2 or 3 bananas. And then they can't be too black. They have to be kind of just barely yellow from the green. And then I also eat at least 1 baked potato. And a little protein, a little bit of fat. Because I want like that... I want that energy. I want to have like that longer carbohydrate energy while I play the show. But also, too, the potassium to keep my lactic acid at bay. So anyway, so if anybody's in Chicago this Saturday night, May 19th, I'll be playing at 210 Live in Highwood, Illinois. Now, it sounds like kind of a small, way far away town, but it's actually just north of a town called Highland Park. It's not that far. Just off the 294 or the 94, or 41 as it's called, as it used to be called before the interstate system. All right, rotate. Gentle. Okay, so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about that. So as you can see here, it's coming together. I have some of the white lug... well, washers, I guess you'd call them. They're a little long, but, I don't give a shit. Gosh damn it. Do I? No. You know what? I don't. Maybe I'll slice them off later. I'm not gonna. You know why? Because I'm just not. But anyway, so here we are. So I'm really looking forward to doing this KASHMIR show. Maybe I will do more KASHMIR. Well, in fact, I know I have to do another KASHMIR show. Because I agreed with Frank Livingston, the Jimmy Page band king. God love him. This is his gig. He's been busting his arse doing KASHMIR, this tribute band. Been doing it 20 years. He's a very talented, very talented dude. Does Page really terrifically, but also too, he's the manager and booker and the whole deal. It's hard to keep a gig like this together, man. So the drum show. So the vintage and custom drum show is not actually in Chicago. It used to be held out at the Kane County Fairgrounds, which was probably about, 25, 30 miles. See, I don't want to tighten these too tightly. West of Chicago. But in the past couple of years, it's moved to the Odeum, which I believe is in Lombard, Illinois, which is much closer to Chicago proper, which makes it a lot easier on people coming in from out of town, and even people who live close, such as myself. So see how I'm trying to be cash and just put this together while we chit-chat? So it's going to be a shorter video. I'm doing this on my phone, though, okay? So there's 2 things I'm doing. I'm testing a holder I have for the phone, which I was going to use for more videos with George and stuff, but a couple things on that holder covered up the microphone holes. The microphone holes, there's a microphone hole, like the microphone, like the little spot, just next to the lens. And this cover thing was blocking it, so I had to use a file. Wally, I used your file that I used on this drum to chop off a little of that holder. Anyway, so that's the deal. And so now it seems to be working, but that's what I'm going to use at the show. So I'm hoping I get, at the very least, I think I'll get... I don't have the new Bonzoleum shirts in yet. They're coming. Boy, I've told everybody I'm going to sell them. Oh, I have Bonzoleum shirts, okay? They're black. They have orange writing. So they look just like the white ones, except they're black with orange writing. You have to send me an email first, though. Don't just pay me on PayPal. You have to send me an email first, okay? To Bonzoleum, just like the channel, at gmail.com. And then we can chat there and I'll fill you in. So, what was I about to do? But yeah, so that's it. Oh, the show. Oh, the drum show in Lombard. It's really cool. And what they do now, I think, is they split the venue. The Odeum's kind of cool because it's like two hockey / like soccer sort of big rooms where they can play these games. So one side will get the guitar, vintage and custom guitar show, and the other side gets the drum. So it's really, really neat, man. So I'm going to go there, and it'll be nice. Bunny Carlos is there and Randy Rainwater, a lot of folks. It'll be good to see Joe, and it'll be good to see a lot of these folks. You never see, it's funny, it seems like when you walk in, after being at the drum show for like a couple minutes, it seems like it's the same one from 20 years ago. Of course, now that sort of isn't really true anymore 20 years ago because it used to be held at the King County Fairgrounds. The old barn, as we called it. And then they moved it from the old barn sort of to a newer facility that it must have been there for a while. But anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I've been chit-chatting. What I do is I go with my hand, and I just feel each one. I slightly turn to the left with my hand. Again, this is just because this is Vistalite. If this was wood, man, I'd torque these babies on there. You know what I mean? So let me double check the brackets, floor time brackets. I put these on yesterday. All right. I'm going to check these babies here. So I hope everything is good with everybody. Remember, if you want a black Bonzoleum t-shirt, send me an email, bonzoleum@gmail.com. They're $20. Each one's $20 shipped to you. I had to raise the prices on these because the white ones were cheaper. Plus, too, it's a massive pain in the ass to... Anyway, so that's it. Look at this. This is it. I got the hoops. I'm not going to put the hoops on that. But I do have the heads. Okay, I got the black dot. Oh, there it goes on that again. This screwdriver has been the bane. So that's it. More videos on the way. If you can make the Chicago Vintage and Custom Drum Show, it's Saturday and Sunday, so the 19th and the 20th of May, next couple days. And again, Saturday night I'm playing 210 Highwood. No, 210 Live in Highwood. A little nervous about the gig. I always want to play it. Well, I'm not going to have these, though. I'm going to have Frank's. Frank has a set, Livingston, the Jimmy Page guy, has a set of Ludwig Vistalites. They're not actually Ludwig. Some dude in Indiana made them like 30 years ago. This guy had molds and stuff. They look just like Ludwigs. It's amazing. Thinner shelled. They sound terrific. Although I might have to tweak them up a bit because I think the heads have been on them since the dawn of time. So anyway, so back to that camera. So what I'm going to do, pretend like... So where the camera hopefully will be on the angle will probably be so like this, okay? I'll be looking this way. So hopefully what'll turn out, it'll be like, all right, everybody, we're about to start rock and roll. Frank will turn around and be like, you ready? And then he goes to the audience, he's like, ready, let's go. And then I'm like, all right, here's almost 4 minutes of rock and roll. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. And I bang through that and go right into celebration. And then we hit the gong for Lemon Song. And then we go into how many more times, the whole schmeal with the whole middle. Then we go into the Wanton Song. We do something else. And we do something else. Then I think what we do, I think we do Stairway to Heaven then, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe. Anyway, Moby Dick's like 7 or 8. Which is, I'm telling you, right off, going through all this stuff, then into Moby Dick for 10, maybe 15 minutes. And then right after Moby Dick is KASHMIR. No, that has been changed too. Right after Moby Dick is The Song Remains the Same. Wow. So what I have to do is I have to remember to choke up on my sticks and not grip so hard. Because when stuff is real loud, I play harder. Like when I have the headphones on or at a show, so I have to be conscious of that. So that is my plan. You have to have a plan for every gig. You have to think in advance. Plus I have to shore up. Frank might throw out Hots Out for Nowhere. He might turn around and say, let's play Hots On for Nowhere. And I might be like, so I got to make sure I get all the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun right. I might have to go over In the Light. And then a couple other things. I need to go over to, what was I? Oh, in Lemon Song, you know the cool little things Bonham does, sort of the middle solo part. I want to make sure I try to nail those as best as possible. Sometimes in the moment I kind of forget where they go. So anyway, so what do you think? Isn't it kind of cool? Amber Vistalite is pretty freaking cool. So, again, we're waiting on confirmation of the depth of Bonham's thermogloss bass drums. Remember, for years and years, I and many others thought that the bass drums and the thermals were 16. Now, I just want to clarify that would be the size up from 14, right? It would in those days, and even now. But since Carmine had 15-inch deep bass drums, I think they're 15. And this guy was a Joe, God love him. He sent me, what happened was is he contacted, I think, Paul Thompson. And I did too, but I was a little too late. Like he said, sure, Terry, you can ask me all kinds of questions. But then he clammed up. And then Joe, this guy, I think it's Joe. If it's not your name, forgive me. Joe sent me an email. He's like, Terry, or a message on Facebook. He's like, they're going to put the answer to the question of the 14 versus 16 thermoglass bass drum in a Modern Drummer article, which is, again, for me is a bummer because we don't know if this article is going to come out in September. But anyway, so we're going to know. And this dude said to me, he's like, Terry, they're not 14 and they're not 16, so they got to be 15. Because part of the thing is, when you would compare photographs of 16s with the thermos, some of them would look 16. But again, like I said, there's only like one or two photographs to me that I've ever seen where the 26 thermal bass drum ever looked 14-inch deep. Every other one, it looked deeper, okay? So we'll get to the bottom of that. And for me, that might not be a big deal for you Led Zeppelin fans, but for me, that's a very tangible, obsessive, compulsive thing. Each and every time I look at the picture, I think to myself, and I did contact Paul Thompson 13 years ago, but I just asked him, I said, are the bass drums the same depth? Because at that time, I assumed, well, I saw the picture of what looked to be 14, saw a picture of what looked to be 16. I figured, well, if he has two bass drums, one of them's 14, one of them's 16. Or one of them's 14, one of them's 15, thinking Carmine. But anyway, we'll get the answer to that. At some point, we need to make a Led Zeppelin John Bonham documentary, find out where all his gear is now. We'll interview everybody. We need a sugar daddy. If there's a wealthy bond trader somewhere, like some dude, his house is filled with drum sets. He has so much money, he doesn't know what to do with it. Send me an email at bonzoleum.com. You can be the financial, bonzoleum@gmail.com. And you can be the financial backer to the documentary we can shoot. They couldn't stop us. If we had a camera crew, we'd just march over to like the Foreskin house or the Boleskin house. Jimmy Page's. Be like, go in like, yeah, right, what do you got in the basement? Any bass drums down there? Let's go. And we'd run over to Jason Bonham's house, go to Robert Plant's house, respectfully go to Pat Bonham's house, and we'd check everything out, and then we'd get the information out of Jimmy Page, what microphones he used, where he recorded, how many takes of this he did. Anyway, we'll get to the bottom of that. More videos on the way. Check out George has put up tons of new videos on Bonzology. He's tackling now in through the outdoor, okay? Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to both our channels if you haven't. Thank you.